Well, hello, my beautiful people. As usual, we're waiting for Matt. I hope he hasn't forgotten. Matt, I'm waiting. Maybe haven't seen him, but I hope he's here or he'll come here. He's very good. He never forgets about that. So that's awesome. Yeah, he's coming in pretty soon. Are you here, Matt? Because I can't see you. Are you here? Mm, Well, I'll wait for you, sweetie. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk to you and say hello, happy Sunday. Well, I started the live. Get yourself a cup of tea, and then I'll wait for you. Okay? But I'm on the live right now, so take your time. So yes, so we have, as usual, Matt just woke up. Probably was a rough night out yesterday, partying or out with the missus in California. So, well, he just wanted to sleep in, which is cool. So hello, beautiful people. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, hello. Before Matt comes in here and we stop and we talk about other stuff, I just want to say something. I want to thank you guys for who came into the who come into the lives and stuff like that. So I want to thank you all for doing that always. And today we're going to review some news and talk about it because with oh okay, sorry Matt, I'll send you the link. Let me send Matt the link, okay? Because apparently I didn't send him the right link, which is stupid of me, but here we go. Invite guest. Here we go. There we go. I'm sending you now the link, Matt. There we go. So, so yeah, beautiful people. Hello. So we're waiting for Matt to come on. He just woke up, so let's give him a break, okay? I don't want to hear anybody. He's mad. He's worse than a girl, really, if you think about it. Hello, Justin Kessner. Hello, Peachy Nana, Stephanie Fox, Kathy Hughes, everybody. Hello. So many things that are happening right now, guys. It's going to be so much fun. Oh my God. Are we going to third world war? Because I opened this up and it says, moment Iran began its 300 missile attack on Israel is revealed on state television as world holds its breath over World War III fears. And Rishi Sunak reveals role of RAF pilots in averting disaster by shooting down kamikaze drones. Are we in World War III and we don't know about it? It's kind of scary if you think about it. I mean, it kind of puts a perspective on Harry and Meghan Markle, doesn't it? Hmm? Oh, here you are, Matt. Hello. Oh my God, I love the flag. That is absolutely stunning.
Thank you very much. It's the core colours. So, what's scary? What were you talking about there? What's scary?
Well, apparently, when we're in World War III and we don't know about it, did you know about it?
yeah, I did. Yeah, uh, yeah.
Let me
We've
see.
had a
Other than
we've had a
Kim
good run.
Kardashian's curves, it's this one right here.
We've had a good run, eh?
I
it's
mean, what is going on there? Because also I read an article that said that Biden told Netanyahu that he's not gonna get any help from the US. What is going on?
you know what I do like about it, because I hate Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the whole argument that we're making all the time when Trump was running was, oh, if Trump gets elected, we'll have World War III. And then he came in and he did really well on foreign policy, got on with the Russians, he got on with the Chinese, he got on with the Koreans. And now Biden's in charge, the whole world's gone to shit, hasn't it? So it'll be, at least if the bombs rain down, I can at least be smug.
Well,
So
what is going
every
on?
cloud.
Can you tell me what's going on? Because I don't trust the mainstream media. So what is going on and what because it's incredible how everything has fallen apart so quickly. And then we had that mass murder or that asshole who went loose with a knife in Australia and killed a mom and I
Yeah.
don't know what happened. I don't know about you guys, but I am so happy that that police woman wasn't fucking around and just shot the hell out of him.
Yeah, save the taxpayers some money. Well, the thing is, right, this can be easily explained because essentially it's a 2,000-year-old religious conflict. The Iranians have always took this position. You might remember the ex-Iranian PM, a guy called Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
Yeah.
About 10 years ago, maybe longer. I think I was still in the Royal Marines at the time. He went on television and just said, like, we want to get a nuke, because if we get a nuke, we can wipe Israel off the face of the earth. So they've always been aggressively hostile towards the Israelis. And now is just the culmination of, decades of hatred for them. So they've always had it in for them. And the reason the Americans are going to take a tough stance with Iran is because the Iranians were always running a proxy war against us when we were in Iraq. You heard about the Iran-Iraq war, but the Iranians were supplying all of the IEDs and missiles and stuff to the terrorists when we were in Iraq. So essentially,
what is IED for people who don't know? What is IEDs?
That's an improvised explosive device. That's what they use to kill everyone, basically, because they can't win a stand-up fight against the Americans. So, the vast majority of casualties in Iraq over that sort of 10-year period were IEDs. So they just dig them in next to the road, wait for a convoy to pass, and then blow it up. And all those thousands of American servicemen that were killed by IEDs, essentially they were killed by the Iranians. The Iranians were running a proxy war against the United States the whole time. So we've always been at polar opposites with the Iranians. Essentially, we do owe them a bit of a pasting because all them thousands of American servicemen were killed by Iranian munitions. So obviously the lines in the sand are, as usual, the Israelis versus the Muslim world, and the Americans backing the Israelis up, which is always going to happen. It's been that way for decades. I mean, ultimately, think about it. 9/11 was really because of Israel. It was American support for the Israelis is what makes the Muslim world hate the Americans. It's why 9/11 happened. Ultimately, all of it is a proxy for Israel versus the Muslim world, basically, is the short version. So yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen? Because actually, the United States is in a very weak position at the moment. I mean, this is just my perception of it. I mean, Joe Biden. I don't care how Democrat. I know you're a Democrat, but I don't care how much of a Democrat or Republican you are. Clearly, Joe Biden is not running this country, the USA. And if he is, it's even scarier if he is. What do you think?
Well, I think Biden's a particularly weak president, but what you have to understand is when it comes to military spending, the United States has been the only superpower for the last 50 years. The Chinese and the Russians still nowhere near. I think the Americans basically have spent 50% of the entire world's military spending for the last 40 years. So at least on the economic standpoint, the Americans have still got, like, people don't understand how disproportionate it is. A good example is a good metric for measuring military strength is aircraft carriers. The rest of the world combined hasn't got as many as the Americans. I think the Americans have got 10 in active service and 10 mothballed, so ready to go if they need them. The UK's got 2. The Italians have got like 1. The French have got 1. The Chinese have got 2. I think the whole world combined hasn't got as many aircraft carriers as the Americans. The Americans have spent 50% of the rest of the entire world's GDP on military spending. So it's like, it's not even close. And I'm hoping that decades of spending will pay dividends now when we've got a weak president, because surely even the Chinese know that if it really kicks off, the Americans can mallet them. We might have a weak president, and we've got weak soldiers now.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if you get a Chinese soldier, they got to see if their uniform matches before they go to war? If it matches his shoes, it's not going to, no, it's not.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? We've got a weak president, we've got weak politicians and leaders, and we've got weak generation of kids. But at least we've got that decades of gas in the tank to see us through. So I do still think if it kicks off, the Americans will wipe the floor with them. Thanks to that spending and that technology and that edge that they've got.
Yeah, but then
we are weak.
You would need to, you know what? It's very funny because you would need nerves of steel to really do it. For example, look at that crazy asshole who went on that Westfield Mall. He only had a knife on him, but he had no fear. So
Mm.
you would need a precedent. You know what? And I've always said that Trump reminds me of my geometry teacher in high school. You know, that it was that kind of teacher that he was a little bit off, that you didn't want to piss off because you didn't know how he would react. So you were unsure. So you behaved. It's like, oh, Mr. Irwin,
Yeah.
I was gonna, you know,
Yeah. Well, you know what Trump proved, right? Because they're all slagging him off, and they've been proved wrong. They're all like, "Oh yeah, Trump's going to cause World War III. Trump's insane. Trump's all this." Trump proved them all wrong because Trump basically was extremely antagonistic and aggressive, and every child knows that's how you deal with a bully. When you're 8 years old and you're getting bullied at school, your granddad tells you on his knee, "What you do is, son, you stand up to a bully." And the way that these idiots like Obama and Biden have done it is like giving the bully your candy every day, just giving him more candy. I tell you what, have more candy, and expecting the bully to leave you alone. We know how you stand up to a bully, and you do what Trump did, which was when Kim Jong started saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to launch our nukes at America." Trump said, "Go on then, fatty, press the button, because I've got a big button. I've got a bigger button than you, and mine actually works." That was what he said. Do you remember?
yeah,
I'm
I
quoting him
remember that.
verbatim. He didn't say, "Go on then, fatty." That was me. But, he said,
That
"Go
was
on then,
you. Yeah,
fatty.
yeah. You
Press
were
the button."
improvising. You were improvising.
Yeah, but he said, "Press the button. See what happens, because I've got a button,
Can
and
you
mine's
imagine?
bigger.
Can you imagine Trump just waiting for him to get, come on, I dare you. And then
I
he
dare
gets a
you."
bigger button, you know?
Yeah, and he did it with the Chinese, and he did it with Russia. And I tell the Democrats this, like when I'm in a pub or something and they're all slagging off Trump. I said, "Listen, I'm happy to say that Trump had his massive flaws. He clearly isn't. He wasn't a very good speaker. He has his flaws. He's not
He's a
likable."
businessman. He's not a good speaker. He's really at the bottom line. And actually, if you run a country as a business, you would do a better job than if you run it as a politician, because
Yeah,
politicians only think of pleasing everybody. Trump
yeah,
was more interesting in the bottom line and what would make the United States financially independent and stronger than everybody else. Like, when you have your own company, you think of your company, how to do the best thing for your company,
yeah.
rather than, oh, I'm going to be a politician and how can I please this guy here, how can I please that guy over there.
I've used that analogy loads of times. I've always said, how our politicians, the scum that lead us now, they act like if the CEO of Burger King was at the round table and they were like, "Oh, we've got this new burger, we think it's going to sell really well." And the CEO saying, "Yes, but is it going to hurt McDonald's? We can't sell too many, but we don't want to hurt KFC." That's how our leaders act. Angela Merkel imported millions of unvetted fighting age men because she was doing them a favour. She was like, "Oh, let's help the Somalians. Let's help the Iraqis." And it's like, yeah, but your job is to help Germans. Macron's job is to help the French. Merkel's job is to help the Germans. Biden's job is to help the Americans. And these weirdos, these progressive people who have been fucking up the entire world for the last 10 years, they act as if the job is to help random strangers from random nations in all four corners of the globe. And it's not. Your job is to work for your people. And the Iranian president should work for the Iranians, and the Israeli president should work for the Israelis, and the American president should work for the Americans. It shouldn't be, "Oh, let's help random strangers from third world countries." And
They
that's
said
the
that charity
policy is
starts at home,
ludicrous.
right?
Exactly. And that's, and as I always say, I like old adages, because old adages, there's wisdom in them. That's why they're an adage. If I just
Yeah,
make
and
one
that's
up and
why
it's
they
total
work. It
bollocks,
always works.
yeah,
It goes in life with everything. Even guys, even when you have, like, when you go on an airplane, and that's a beer. When you
it's
go
not
on,
a beer, just a canna.
oh, sorry. I mean, I can't believe I'm so conditioned to hearing that sound. I immediately go to beer. I don't even think it's a
I think you must drink more than me then.
yeah,
So it's just a
yeah,
can of
yeah.
water.
But it's so funny, like, what was it? What was I saying? It was about it's like when you go in the airplanes and they say, in case of emergency and the mask falls, comes out, make sure that you put it on yourself first.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you can,
it's a good
how can
analogy.
how can you help anybody if you're, and it's the same, it applies to everything in life, and it comes from something very basic as charity starts at home,
That's a great
like
analogy. A great
self-respect,
analogy.
like self-respect, like who's going to love you if you don't love yourself, if you think that somebody is going to if you place your self-worth in somebody else loving you and you don't love yourself, how can anybody love something that you don't love yourself to begin with? You have to be comfortable and like your person, for anybody else, because that shows everything in life. And again, it goes down to charity starts at home.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? Talking about that, the old Egyptian prime minister, a guy called Mohammed Morsi, he's dead now, but Morsi famously said, educated Egyptians view Britain as a life raft. And he said, but you know what happens if you let too many people on the life raft? It fucking
It
sinks.
stinks, yeah.
And that's what he said. Like, if you want to have help people, you need to have a common sense approach to it. So this is what everyone's always said in the UK. You should have a cap to the amount of people you accept. Like, okay, we'll take 50,000 refugees a year. Because if we do that, the 50,000 can get dispersed equally throughout the country. They'll get really well integrated. The kids will get well educated with all the local kids. And in 10 years' time, you have well-adjusted English kids with Egyptian parents. That's how immigration was always working in the 70s and the 80s. And it's only in the recent age, like sort of last decade, where they've just swamped the nations with millions and millions and millions of people. And now you've got Sweden. You know, I played a video yesterday to my followers of Bill Maher, the liberal lefty comedian, going on a massive rant about immigration, saying, like, don't you understand? Like, you're turning everybody to the right wing, because when you import this many people, the aftershocks are terrible. And he was showing the crime statistics from Sweden, because he said Americans always go, oh yeah, Sweden's beautiful. And he said Sweden's now got the highest crime in the developed world. And they have grenade attacks and Somalian gangsters like fighting in the streets. And this idea that Sweden's some idyllic paradise is based off old data from decades ago. Now it's gone to shit because they've just threw the rule book out and said anyone from anywhere can go wherever they want. And look at Canada. Canada is totally gone to shit.
Well, thanks to Trudeau, that he's such a moron, that asshole.
Yeah.
I really do believe he's Castro's son. Fidel Castro's
he
son.
looks like him. Yeah, he does.
I do believe he's a Fidel Castro's son, because he's really screwing Canada. He's really screwing us over.
Harry Hewitt and Justin Castro.
No, but that guy is a complete moron, and when he did that thing with the trans, that he appeared in that show, and then he couldn't even remember all the letters, because every day they add a new letter to that thing,
Yeah.
So it's guys, this is not a politically correct show. This is a show for grown-ups who talk without worry. Like, we can talk about things, you can disagree. Matt and I don't agree on everything. He's a commie, probably. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just not quite as right wing as you, Paula, but yeah, I am pretty, like I said, I'm a disaffected liberal. Like, I'm still a registered Democrat, because that was what I registered as when I moved over here. But the last 5 years has made me take like 10 steps to the right. Like, so I don't want you to hold it against me that I'm a registered Democrat.
But that's the truth. That's the truth. That analogy you did of the little boat. You put too many on it, it sinks.
Yeah.
It goes again with everything in life. If you take it to an extreme, it goes to shit.
Everything in life. Balance.
You know what it reminds me when Norway. I remember when I was in Norway. I don't know if there's any Norwegians here and they remember this. There was this incident. I don't know where this gentleman was from, but from Congo or some place like that. He was clearly a refugee or whatever. And he was in one of the public buses, transportation. And I hear in the news, that the guy apparently has stabbed the driver, and he was pacing back and forth inside the bus, killing people, stabbing people, right? And the police were outside, Matt. The guy was pacing back and forth in plain sight, okay, in the bus, and people were and they were hesitating to shoot at him because, his rights.
His rights. What about the rights? Well, see, this is what we talked about with that weird, I coined the term the other day, neon pedo. To me, it's someone who is so obviously a pedo, it's unbelievable. Like, in the 80s, when you said, oh, he's a bit of a pedo, it was like, it was up for debate. You were like, maybe he's just a bit weird. But nowadays, the neon, the glow in the dark, you couldn't be more of an obvious pedo if you had a big sign above your head saying, I am a nonce. And that Jeffrey Marsh guy we were talking about, the one with the teeth. It's like people like him. Everyone's always on about rights all the time. What about his right? What about his right? And I'm always like, what about the rights of the kids? What about the rights of the victims? What about the rights of the people on the bus who were getting stabbed by this guy? Like, the real problem here, and this goes back to stuff that, like, Heinlein, that author I told you about, I like so much. was talking about was everybody knows about the rights. Everyone always talks about the rights. What about my rights? The go with responsibilities. Everyone, if you look at like the writings of ingenious people, great men through history, like John Locke, they always talk about rights and responsibilities. They're together. And it's, you have responsibilities if you want to have rights. And your responsibilities to your people and your family and your country and society and all this is what makes society cohesive. And if you're only doing one half of it, you shouldn't get the rights. What about the rights of the victims? The police should, as soon as someone's doing something like that, they should just put a bullet in their head. Like, and again, I'm not mega right wing. I've always been like, I think the American police are a bit too aggressive, blah, blah, blah. But there's the other side of the coin is being toothless. And these European coppers who just let the worst type of scum commit the most heinous crimes against women, innocent women and children, and all they care about is the rights of the criminals. It's ludicrous. What about the rights of the victims? Just end these people. There's no, like I said, I've never been mega right wing on crime, but now I'm getting old and miserable. I just think like,
yeah, no, but it's because they don't give you an option. They don't give you an option, Matt, because it's like, there's nothing makes sense anymore. And rather, for at least that's what I feel. Rather than going to the woke, which is insane. I much rather go to the extreme right. But usually my views are very centrist. But the problem is that if you have centrist views, you're considered a lunatic, because the woke is so far gone that any logical behavior is looked upon as threatening, extreme right wing. It's like it's insane, and they get all these woke celebrities who are a bunch of morons who and they grab like Taylor Swift. We have Kim Kardashian, Harry now, with Meghan. That now Meghan, this is really scary. I really wanted to talk to you about this because Harry and Meghan are getting into politics through Archwell. They're doing the misinformation thing for the election, disinformation for the election. I mean, that is quite scary. And you know what's scarier to me? That the American people sit still for this. Because if you had two people, at least Harry's an international guy, and it's not Rachel Meghan Markle who's doing it. It's the Duchess of Sussex, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, which is basically foreign people using foreign titles to help decide the look, and nobody's saying anything about it. That is why they are scary. Not because Harry and Meghan are a bunch of assholes, idiots, imbeciles, morons, absolutely whatever. But they are very useful.
I know, and you know what is staggering? This is the proof that all of the people, conspiracy theorists, when I was a kid, were like, oh yeah, Elvis is still alive, or the moon landings didn't happen. Now, conspiracy theorist is anything that disagrees with the obvious actions of the woke globalist lunatics who run the world, because as if they would tolerate it if Harry and Meghan were right-wing as fuck. Like, if Prince Harry and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were like, Trump's amazing, he's always wearing a MAGA hat, they would not tolerate it. They'd probably pull his visa and deport him.
He would be canceled as a celebrity. As a celebrity. I mean, I kid you not. Every day I see, Robert De Niro will leave the U.S. if Trump wins. Taylor Swift will leave if Trump wins. Yeah. So that means that they're belittling the vote of the majority of the Americans. So that means that they're anti-democracy, because the way that the president wins is because the majority of the country wants it. So they're basically saying, if you don't vote like I do, screw you, we're leaving. Does that make it? That's not very grown up, is it?
No. As I said, I think it's mad how the world is now. Like, it's crazy to me how obvious it is that it's just a narrative. Like, the individual leaders have got no power. They're just doing as they're told. And it's this crazy woke global cabal. And you know it is because they have total cohesiveness, uniformity in their opinions. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Trudeau or Biden. Biden was in politics for 40 years. We know what Biden thinks. He's been doing it for decades. Repeats anything.
I mean, people think that, they think they said that past behavior is a good predictor of future behavior. Am I correct, Matt? I mean, you're very clever.
Not anymore. That's what I'm saying. But this is the proof. This is the proof of the agenda. Because Biden was never woke lefty. He was in politics for 40 years and he was always a moderate. There's videos of him in the 90s saying proper racist shit. There's videos of him in the 90s going like, oh yeah, get rid of the
funeral of the KKK guy, of the general
videos
grandmaster. I don't know how the fuck they call him, but it's the grandmaster or something like that. And he went to his funeral.
There's videos of him in the 90s being like, yeah, lock him up. If you're black and you sell drugs, lock him up forever. And then now he comes in 2020 and all of a sudden he's a woke globalist, no borders man. It's like he didn't think that for 40 years. So what I'm saying is, it isn't a past behavior. Isn't.
But I have to ask you this, Matt. I have to ask you this. I think that by 2020, this man already had severe dementia, because I remember, you're right. I remember him, even the videos when he was in the Senate. He was saying that crack, if you get caught with crack, it's not even, there was no need to take you to trial. You went to prison. And I mean, we had his son, right?
20 years ago, he was like Pinochet. Now he's in charge. And he's a woke globalist. It's like,
but do you think that's him though? Because I hate to say this. Did you know that Obama went to see what's it called? 10 Downing Street. But I wonder if in 2020, Joe Biden, you don't because I'm sorry, I do believe he has dementia, or advanced, if not advanced Alzheimer's, he has advanced dementia. And I believe that Obama is actually the one. This is just my opinion, running the country, because you see him with Obama everywhere. With Clinton, they did that fundraiser. And then Obama went to 10 Downing Street and had an hour meeting with the prime minister. I mean, what is a former president doing there talking? I mean, because clearly. So for me, I'm wondering, this is the question I want to give you. I am wondering whether Biden by then, 2020, was just a puppet. And this is why we suddenly see that shift, because he has dementia. So he no longer remembers who he is, and other people are behind him. I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory, but we do have to explore those options, because we're beginning of 2024?
Yeah. Well, again, it's not, it's backed up by verifiable evidence at this point, because this is what I'm saying. It's irrefutable because he's got such a long career. We know exactly what he thinks because he's been in politics for 40 years. And then he turns up in 2020 and all of a sudden he's like, no borders, 11 million people come in 3 years, globalist policies. Like, he's basically the same as Trudeau, but he's been in politics for 40 years.
Trudeau is killing Canada. Trudeau is killing Canada. I swear to God.
Yeah. And that was what Bill Maher was talking about day before yesterday. Canada's totally gone to shit. So, like, in the last 10 years, Canada has gone, it's the equivalent of importing like 11 million people in like a 4-year period in Canada. And the healthcare is the worst in the developed world now. Nobody can buy a house.
You know, it used to be really good. It used to be very good, you know, like the in Canada, it used to be great.
Yeah, but, you know, they get what they asked for because they voted for Trudeau. So they knew what he was like.
Which city were you talking about? At the BBC Spews Live yesterday, or the one the Bernard's punk joke, or CNN pedal social media friendly collectivist?
Well, in my live yesterday, I covered Bill Maher. If you look at the video for the first half hour, we covered Bill Maher because Bill Maher is a lefty Democrat comedian, and he
this
showed
is the one, right?
Yeah, but like if you jump 5 minutes in. Of a load of different one. Ukrainian refugees, and every one of them was as black as a fire back. Ukrainian, yeah. Did you see that? There were Ukrainian refugees. They all look like Idi Amin. That was but yeah,
they look like Idi Amin.
Generally, are born in Ukraine. Like, I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, the
I have to listen to that
one. Was as black as a fire back. Now I might be wrong. But I don't think Angolans generally are born in Ukraine. Like, I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, they aren't, are they? France. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
So you better go watch it. I mean, I do. You know what? I wake up and I like to watch your show sometimes. I love, but you know, one of the things that is quite scary, and I have to ask you because Harry's actually quite nefarious. You know, he's part of the Aspen Institute, and he's so stupid. He did this documentary that you can see, or some shit like that. And he's saying there that he got information about January 6th days in advance.
Mm.
from the Aspen Institute, because he's part of the board of directors of the Aspen Institute in the United States. And he let it slip that they knew about January 6th organization. Trump didn't know about it.
Really? Well, I mean, look at January 6th is clear. Again, it shows that the conspiracy theorists are right and we've got this woke globalist cabal running the world, because January 6th was the most obvious badly organized sort of rabble doing a bit of a riot at worst. And yet they pushed the agenda for 4 years that it was an insurrection. And even like lefty people have gone like, how can you say it was an insurrection when nobody had a gun? Like, these people have got more guns. They're the hillbillies. They've got more guns than anyone.
But it's just, it was, how do you call it, a demonstration? I mean, do you know how many Democrats have gone into Capitol Hill? Even Amy Schumer one time, they were protesting that black judges, Supreme Court judge, what's his name? The black judge?
Clarence Thomas.
Yeah. So they went there and they completely broke in and they were sitting down. They took over the whole thing. And that's exactly what happened. What happened is that lady got shot and killed.
In the face, yeah. So it was an insurrection, but nobody had a gun. It was poorly organised. There wasn't any serious attempt to seize power, if that's what they're trying to call it. And the only person who got shot was an unarmed Trump supporter. It's ludicrous on the face of it. And then all those videos leaked, what Tucker Carlson showed, where they're getting led around the Capitol building by the police. Guy's super polite, that Sharman guy, super nice and friendly, shaking all the police's hands. They're walking around the whole building, and then the next thing, they put him front and centre, lock him up, and say, look at this violent insurrectionist. It's like, do you think nobody's got eyeballs? Like, we saw what happened. And now we know that there was feds involved in it. There's videos leaked of them. The feds were riling up the crowd.
The son of a Supreme Court justice in New York, who was a Democrat. But you don't hear about him being talked about.
And that's why I called Trump the Orange Oracle. Like, that was a term I coined for him, because he sees the future, man. Like, and I hold my hands up when I say that, because like I said, I'm a registered Democrat still. Like, I was slagging off Trump loads like 8 years ago. I was like, oh yeah, I hate Trump. But now you literally, the definition of stupidity is repeating the same mistakes. And me, that's what I tell everyone, because as soon as you say anything positive about Trump, like YouTube demonetizes me. They're like, yeah, far right. It's like, no, I didn't like Trump and I didn't vote for Trump. But you've made me defend Trump because you've gone crazy. So if you're gone completely insane and Trump's just a little bit annoying, I'll just vote for Trump. And this is what they've done. And if you say anything, they go, oh, MAGA boy, far right. It's like, no, I am of the left. And I always was. And you made me do this because you're an extremist. They've gone so far to the left, these crazy weirdos, that I'll support anybody who stands against them. And Trump, every single thing he says that everybody called a conspiracy theory, it's come true. The Orange Oracle. He was like, yep, come from a lab in Wuhan. And everyone was like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. 3 years later, came from a lab in Wuhan.
Ridiculed?
Yeah, everything he says comes true. So I hold my hands up and say, Orange God, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Like, because he does. He knows what he's doing.
But it goes to, because you know what? Somebody interviewed in my channel about Harry and Meghan. They pointed out something, and I'm usually, I do like to elaborate and investigate, because sometimes when things don't add up, this is where you start to question. I don't like to call them conspiracy theories, but I do like to call them questioning and finding out, researching what's going on, because it really started to dawn on me that Harry's in the Aspen Institute, right? Now he was active with COVID vaccine with Harry and Meghan Markle. They were both active in COVID vaccine. The royal family were heavily involved in COVID vaccine, and not for the country, but Prince Charles bought shares of 2 months before COVID, around September, he bought shares in a company, in a lab that they don't make the vaccines, but they have the rights to exclusive distribute certain vaccines, one of them being the COVID-19. This is before COVID-19 even came out. Really? And I talked about it in one of my channels. And actually, I remember one of the suspensions I got is because I pulled out the article, because one day, for fun, I remember thinking, I wonder if Charles is, if the Queen has any investments in pharmacies. So I typed in Charles Queen and pharmacies, nothing. So I typed in Charles, Prince Charles and pharmacy, and immediately popped up in New York, Royal Pharmaceutical Products. And I'm like, 13% he bought shares, right? And then, but they again, they don't make any medications. They just are what they do is they acquire the exclusive rights to distribute these things. And one of them are vaccines. And one of them, this is in September. Nobody knew about COVID in September 2019. 2 months before that, he bought that. And this company became billionaires because, oddly enough, Harry and Meghan were promoting the vaccine that Charles had invested, had bought shares in.
Really?
And then so you have Harry and Meghan now invested in very, very deeply with the Biden group. Harry sat on a bench and he was advocating for Biden because that's what they were, right? And the royal family is refusing, and they were very, very close with Joe Biden. And I even criticized Catherine, Princess Catherine, because when Melania Trump, is that the Trump's?
Melania, yeah.
Melania Trump came, she had this program with little children who had been bullied. She's known for that as a first lady. She started this project for bullied children. So, but when she came, Catherine didn't even invite her like she did with Jill Biden. To me, she's a huge crook because she knows her husband is sick and she's allowing all of this to happen to her husband. I believe she's in on this, right? Because there's no way this woman sleeping with this man or lives with this man and doesn't know what he has, right? So to me, she's complicit. So Catherine invited Jill Biden everywhere and they were going everywhere with them, but they didn't do that same courtesy with Ivanka and Melania. And Melania actually had a children's program. And I did criticize her. For people who say that I don't criticize, I call out everybody on my channel because I thought that was wrong. That was politically biased. And that's not what the monarchy should be about.
Yeah.
But now that one of my subscribers, Matt, said, you know what? I believe that and now we have Ted Sarandos, the co-founder, whatever the hell, of Netflix, receiving the highest honor, Order of the British Empire, for his contribution to the arts. He's only a CEO of Netflix, and Charles personally chose him.
But this is what I'm saying here. Like, they've killed everything. They are commies. I just call them all commies because it's easier. These authoritarian statist commie rats have killed everything. Because even that, talking about the monarchy, I was always a monarchist. They've killed it. I was always a monarchist. Now I'm like, who cares? Who cares? Get rid of it. If King Sausage Fingers wants to start playing political games, which his mother expressly forbade and never did, well then,
the Queen was perfect. I heard to say that the Queen was perfect.
She was, I was a big monarchist and I love the Queen. And now he's in charge. I'm like, who cares? Get rid of
everything. Is a shit show, isn't
everything. They've killed everything pure and good in the world. These commie authoritarians have killed.
Seriously, because the Queen was a tough act to follow to begin with. So you would have thought that he would have stayed on the narrow, Instead, he's bringing back Andrew and Fergie.
How do you fuck it up? How? All he had to do was shut up and say nothing. How do you fuck that up? Anyone can do that. It's not like it's a hard task. Just shut up and say nothing, and then you'll do good. Because that's what your mum, she did such a good job and led such a good example. All he had to do was shut up and coast along on the goodwill the public had because of his mum.
Yeah, that's all. And the Queen, all he had to do, nobody knew what the Queen was thinking. The government would say, you need to entertain the Chinese president. Bring him along. We'll get the golden carriages out. And I remember when the president came, Charles made a big stink of not attending the state dinner. Instead, he entertained the pedo Dalai Lama, whom we saw sticking his tongue out to a little boy. Oh
my God, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And you know what's incredible? Nobody's talking about it. Did you see that everybody went quiet?
Unbelievable.
My channel got banned when I posted that video. This is why that video is not up. I did a video saying, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I kept getting I got banned for 2 weeks because I read a Time magazine article. That's it. I read the Time magazine article where they were gloating about robbing Trump, and they were like, here's how our broad coalition came together to deny Trump the election win. And I read the story, and they banned me for 2 weeks and said, oh yeah, that's a conspiracy theorist. This is what I'm saying. They've killed everything. They've killed our lifestyle. They've killed our kids' futures. They've killed the support for the monarchy. And they've even killed the term conspiracy theory. Because back in the day, conspiracy theory was, oh, the moon landings were fake. Elvis is still alive. The Loch Ness Monster. Now conspiracy theory is any provable fact that the government statist authoritarian fucks disagree with. So they've even killed the term conspiracy theorist. Because now I'm a formerly liberal, left-wing, pro-monarch, normal bloke, and now I'm a far-right conspiracy theorist, anti-Republican. It's like nothing makes sense anymore. And they've even killed the English language, right? Because now up is down, left is right. They've killed the English language. Now, you say the pronouns, individuals are they, them, men are women, women are men, up is down, left is right. Like the world's gone completely mad. You have to laugh.
But you know what really bothers me? That people like Jeffrey Marsh, that muffo never gets punished. His channel going, and this is a man who's going on TikTok asking little boys who are confused to follow him on his page.
Hello? That's what I'm saying. I coined the term neon. He is a neon glow in the dark pedo. Like it's so obvious you can't even deny it. And yet, if you point it out, you're the bad guy. If you say, should this old man be sucking a child's tongue? They go, oh, that's hateful. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, the world's gone mad. Like, you get the worst type of scum that a few years ago it'd be locked up for life. And if you point it out, you're the villain. That's how mad the world's gone. In fact, I can talk about that. My video before that one, so Thursday, I think I made a video about this crazy black woman who went on CNN and said, oh, the reason so many black people like O.J. Simpson is because O.J. Simpson killed white
O.J.
people.
died, huh?
Right? So, but listen to this. She made a video collectivizing billions of black people and saying, oh, the reason the black community likes O.J. is because he murdered white people. Yeah. And I made a video saying, this is just overt hatred. You're promoting the murder of people based off the skin color. And
which one is this one?
That one, yeah. CNN peddles social media friendly collectivist hatred. Right?
Crazy.
And I take the piss out this
woman.
Another
day when people
because she makes out that all the black community agree with her. And I made a video saying, no, they don't. You're just a middle class American wokeist. You do not speak for billions and billions of black people when you're promoting murder. And they demonetized my video and said, oh yeah, this is hate speech. It's like, what? I'm sticking up for billions of individual people that happen to be black and saying they don't all agree with this hateful woman. And I'm the bad guy. And that's what I'm saying. So when you point out someone's a pedo, you're the villain. And when I point out that this woman is peddling hatred and speaking for billions of people who don't agree with her because they're not hateful, and all black people are hateful and horrible, they call me the bad guy. So it's yet more evidence of what I'm saying to you. The whole world's gone completely mad. You criticize a pedo and you're the bad guy, not the pedo.
Yeah.
You criticize someone.
They get angry at you. They get angry with you. You know, it's like, I'll tell you something because I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this. I kid you not. Okay, guys, I haven't thrown these away, but let me see this. I'm going to get rid of that here. But I have these. These are hand painted. This was sent to me by a painter who contacted me. He is the guy who painted the coronation portrait. He's worked for Charles for over 45 years. Charles hired him because he was a gardener, an organic gardener, and he brought him up. This is a little bit higher before he even married Princess Diana, right? And then he brought him into the family. He's a painter and everything. He just painted the coronation. He reached out to me. The funny thing is he reached out to me and Pidina because we both have charities with children. By the way, guys, don't forget to buy the raffle ticket. Man, give it a shout out to my raffles.
Oh yeah, I didn't even click on it. Yeah, I will do. I'll buy some tickets.
No, I'm trying to build, some full bathrooms and stuff for the girls that are in the shelter, because I don't have any showers or anything for them, you know. So at least they
Yeah.
can shower there and not naked in the streets and stuff like that. But the thing is that this man, there's a famous somebody, this couple, you know, whose kid died at the hands of a pedo, right? So they dedicated their lives to catch others. So they go to Andrew Mellon's, that's the name of the guy, house, and they bust him because they catch him with all this text messages, the WhatsApp, the images, everything. The police comes in, and when they come in, they have, and he sent me, I could show you the messages. Send me pictures with the Queen's letter saying that we love you more than family. And the Queen sat for pictures for paintings, Charles, but he was really close with Charles. Charles brought him in there, right? And then even Princess Diana would let him babysit Harry and William and everything, right? And he has letters, like his house is covered with personal pictures with him and the Queen and Andrew and everybody, right? So the thank you notes. So the police comes in and they catch him. I mean, you cannot call it more red-handed than anybody on earth, right? The police takes him. They keep him for 4 hours and they drive him back. And then he sends me a message because apparently they told him to stay off social media. But immediately he went and got another phone number. And then he was WhatsApping me and I'm like, oh, I got a new number. He didn't know I knew because people immediately, because I had featured his paintings in my channel because I was so proud, you know, because I verified MP Dinah too, right? And I'm like, nothing's happened to him because the police, as soon as they saw how well connected he just painted the coronation painting for Charles right now. Literally. So and I mean, this is a guy who was caught. I mean, you wouldn't even need to take him to trial.
No. Well, another glow in the dark pedo. That's what I'm saying. Like you can't deny it. It's undeniable at this point. These psychos who run the world.
I try to talk about it in my channel, and I received an email from YouTube saying that, you know, that due to the sensitivity, I'm like, I didn't use any of the words. I was just showing what was happening. I asked people to think what they thought, and even Pidani and I were like, you know, it's disgusting, Matt.
Shocking.
Matt. But what do you think? What do you think is happening? Because, for example, I don't know what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're at war for reals?
I think, like always, it'll end up being a more regional conflict. It won't be like a world war. I think that ultimately, because the globalists are running the world, and it's obvious, right, that it's a global cabal that's doing this stuff. I think because of that, it'll probably prevent like a global conflict because the powers that be seem to be pulling the strings everywhere. So I don't think it'll escalate to like be a conflagration and the whole world will be at it. I do think that I think it's going to be a regional thing because they clearly have took over by subtle manipulation, haven't they? Like, this is what I'm saying. Biden, 40 years in politics. And then all of a sudden he's doing the same woke shit as Justin Trudeau, as Macron. The Conservative Party in England, they're called Conservative Party. But every single thing they do is in line with Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden. It's clearly a cabal pulling the strings. So I think it's probably about profit and they'll make money from it. And they make money from putting people at each other's throats and selling arms to everyone. And they want to lower the population, so they'll get some death and destruction and chaos. And that's all they want, and they'll get it. But I don't think it'll end the world. I just think it'll cause a lot of destruction and chaos. A lot of dead people and a lot of arms sales.
That's actually pretty awful. And, you know, what do you think is going to, you know, I want to ask you about, what do you think about Charles' cancer? People said that he has pancreatic cancer. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think he's been an effective ruler to be? Well, he has been an absent one, but how would you rate his performance to date? I mean,
oh, well, like I said, I was ranting about it earlier. I'd get 1 out of 10. Like, it's just, he's managed to turn me, a monarchist, into not a monarchist. So that's his performance. Can we do minus? Can we do minus 10? Like, yeah, that's how bad it is. I was a staunch monarchist. Maybe not staunch. I wouldn't say I was like a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore monarchist, putting plates up of the Queen in my house and all that, you know, like my granny. But I was a monarchist. I was like, the system works fine. It's always worked fine for hundreds of years. Keep it as it is. And I like the Queen. And then literally,
I love the Queen.
how long
Wait,
has she been dead now?
Andrew, why do you think is bringing Andrew back with Fergie? Because they are. They're bringing him up. They're trying to, they're trying to associate him to church. So whenever you think of Andrew, these two big church events are official events listed in the monarchy's website, like the Easter and the Christmas. They're church services. They're not family. They're called family because they're the royal family, but they are official engagements. And I see how cleverly they're doing by linking Andrew to something holy, and then Fergie, because they're bringing him back. Why do you think they're doing that?
Well, you know what I think though with that is? This is what I'm talking about. Why? Because they know they're running the narrative and they control they control everything. They realised it's a global thing, but basically it goes back to Blair. They realised that when you don't need to control the people, you just need to control the airwaves and the narrative. And when they realised that, they took over it all. So that's why CNN, the BBC, MSNBC, all the global news, Canada's national news network, Australia's national news network. Here in America, you've got you got LBC in London, you've got NPR out here in the US. Everything is controlled by them, and it gives them an insane level of confidence because, like I said, the narrative. Most people think Trump said, the Nazis were very fine people. It didn't happen. Most people think January 6th was a violent insurrection when the only person who got shot was an unarmed woman.
And she was from the military. She was a retired. She was a veteran.
I know.
And the lady who got shot in the face, she was a veteran. She was, I don't know if she was Army or Navy or something like that, but
she was a patriot. And this is what I'm saying. They've realised that when you control the narrative, you can do anything. Up is down, left is right. You call someone a pedo and you're the bad guy. I call someone pro-murder and I'm the bad guy. Like, they've realised that if you control the radio networks, the TV stations and Silicon Valley and the printed media, if you control those four things, and they do, you can get away with anything. So that's why they feel they can bring Prince Andrew back, because it gives them a staggering arrogance. Because if they know that if you control the radio waves and the TV networks and the printed media in Silicon Valley, you can basically make up, down and left, right. You can say it's not fair to criticise Jeffrey Marsh. He's the good guy and you're the villain for pointing it out. And that's why they think they can bring him back, because they think we control the narrative, we control Silicon Valley, we control the airwaves, so we can do whatever we like. And if we just keep telling the public that Prince Andrew's a super cool guy, he can do what he wants. And they got away with it with Epstein, and they got away with it with the grooming gangs in England. For 3 decades, organised gangs of foreign men were molesting, torturing, and occasionally killing tens of thousands of children. And they got away with it. Because if anyone criticised them, they said, you're the bad guy. There's a guy, I don't even want to repeat his name because it might get you channel banned, but there's a guy, Tango Romeo is his is the 2 first letters of his name. And he was an activist trying to tell people about these organised grooming gangs with these children getting industrially trafficked and murdered and raped. And he got sent to prison. They said, this is racist hatred, and he got sent to prison. So this is proving it. Like, they can do as they fucking please, because they control the narrative, and if you point at it, you're the villain. So everyone's scared to say anything. All the networks are on side, all the government news agencies, and they can do as they please. And it's gave them this staggering arrogance. So yeah, they think they can do as they please, and evidence suggests that they can. How long did Harvey Weinstein get away with it? Meryl Streep goes on TV and says, I'd like to thank God, Harvey Weinstein. And everyone goes, ha, 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 ha. And everybody in the room knows he's a sex pest. He's a rapist.
What do you think of P. Diddy? What do you think of P. Diddy? Because now that they involved Harry there, that's quite a pickle. And you know that they amended the thing, and they removed a bunch of names except Harry's. And then the bodyguard has come out and said that he's got videos of him there. That's I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, isn't that something?
Yeah, lunacy.
These people, they all know each other. And they know what's happening at those parties.
Of course they do. Well, that's another one. That's a conspiracy, isn't it? Eyes Wide Shut and all that. Like Kubrick was
Oh
basically
yeah,
saying,
it's
like,
true. That's
yeah, we know what's going on. So I'm saying that it's been going on for decades. We all know it, but we can't talk about it. So they can do as they please. They can do as they please. Like I said, it's mad to me. Meryl Streep getting on stage and going, I want to thank God, Harvey Weinstein. And everyone no one says, why is this woman not in prison? Not only is she not in prison, she's lauded everywhere she goes. If she walks down the street in my hometown, everyone's like, oh, Meryl Streep. Neon glow-in-the-dark pedos everywhere. Rapists, molesters,
and Oprah.
The worst type of scum, and everybody loves them. Oprah, there's a great example. Oh yeah, black people can't get ahead in America. Oprah Winfrey and Barack Obama. It didn't happen. Yeah, never happened. Just forget about it.
How can this woman, what's wrong with this woman? Do you think if there was proper racism? There's racism everywhere. I mean, I've been discriminated against by black people. Call me spick and all kinds of things,
Of course you have.
Yeah. I think it's funny when they call me spick, the black people,
Well, listen to this, right?
They don't have my skin color in my culture.
Essentially, right, racism is bad manners. All racism is being rude. How do you get rid of rudeness? It's like they're talking as if you can somehow get rid of being impolite. We're human beings. You're never going to get rid of rudeness. If people are going to insult you, why is it worse? If you're like, your colour, it's not even that big of a deal. Like, if someone calls a black person the N-word, yeah, it's rude and it's offensive and you shouldn't do it because you're being mean. But it's the same as if you see a fat person in the street and you go, look at that big fat fucker. You're being rude.
I kind of felt guilty sending you that picture from the plane.
But what I'm saying is, how do you do anything? It's blew up to be,
when I saw that, I thought of you immediately. That's not healthy.
it's blew up to be a much bigger deal than it is. It's just bad manners. It's rudeness. Get on with your fucking day. If you're short and you've always had a complex about your height, someone saying, oh, look at you, short ass. You should be a burglar because your ass will wipe your footprints out. It's just being rude. That's all. So who cares about it?
True.
But they make it like it's the biggest deal in the world. And like I said, that woman on CNN was there with a straight face in 2024 being pro-murder and saying, oh, black people just can't get ahead. I was like, a black man was in charge of the free world for 8 years.
He still is.
And they're going on as if it's 1852 and everyone's like, hooey, let's have a hanging, boys. I was like, a black man was running the world. Shut up. Oprah Winfrey was a multi-millionaire in the 80s.
She's a billionaire.
Shut up.
She's a billionaire now.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. It's lunacy. It's just lunacy. Jennifer Lawrence going on TV and going, oh, you know what? There hadn't been any female action stars till I did it. Like, she's some hero. I was like, what, you don't remember the 80s and the 90s and the 90s? We had 30 years of female action stars. We had Sigourney Weaver doing it in like 1979. And these people are like, oh yeah, I invented this in 2023. It's mental. And it's because they control the narrative. So when they say a black man can't get ahead in America, nobody goes, what about Barack Obama being the president for 8 years? They all just go, yeah, a black person can't get ahead. Nobody goes, what about Oprah Winfrey being a billionaire?
Oprah Tyler Perry.
No, they're all, no, you're just a racist because you noticed they exist.
Before you go, I just want to something this quick. You have this on Twitter, on X, sorry. What is this about? Because he was this in Canada, wasn't he?
Yeah, but this is what I'm telling you. This was Bill Maher. He's been a lefty his entire life. And that 8-minute video is him slagging off the left, saying, like, we've gone crazy. He just points at the numbers in Canada, in England, and in Sweden. And he says, mass immigration's fucked the whole world up. We've got grenade attacks in Sweden. Canada's healthcare system's collapsed. The education system's collapsed. Everything's gone to shit. And Bill Maher's telling it. That's what I'm saying. That was the most sensible 7 minutes that's ever come out of that fucking idiot's mouth. Basically.
I was surprised that you.
Yeah, honestly, watch it.
I watched a few minutes, but he was lagging off Canada mostly, and then I thought,
I'll tell you,
screwed up. I know Canada is screwed up, but it would be nice. So this is the United States as well afterwards.
You know what? I'll end on a joke because, and this is another thing I keep saying, right? The normal people in the world, the working class people, have got a sense of humor. We laugh at everything, like even racist jokes, sexist jokes, homophobic jokes. Everybody knows that when you're telling a joke, it's just for humor and it doesn't make you a bad person. If you tell a slightly homophobic joke, it doesn't mean you dislike gay people. It doesn't. It's just for fun, and that's how humans bond. It's by mocking each other and making friends and
Are
joking.
you kidding? You know the sense of humor we have here? You know, like you have no idea. Like my friends in Canada, you know, and or in anywhere, they would say to me, "Oh, you know, what was it? My little wetback," you know.
Yeah,
even though,
it's
even though
normal.
and we would laugh, and I would call them names that I'm not going to repeat here. But I was never offended. You know?
No, nobody is. That's how people bond. And like I said, I do. I think humour is all we've got left because they can't take that away from us. So the reason I said that is because I'll end on a sexist joke because most of your audience are women. And I just reminded myself of it by saying that was the cleverest thing that's ever come out of that fucking idiot's mouth. Reminded me of a sexist joke I heard and my dad told me. And it was, what's the cleverest thing that's ever come out of a woman's mouth? Einstein's cock.
But that flag is not blue, it's black. You told me that it was blue.
All right. It's navy blue.
But it looks black. Am I going insane in that? I mean, I'm trying to look. Is that very what? Can you please just say which one it is? Because people have been asking about it.
Yeah, it's the Royal Marines core colours. That's all it is. It's because I was a Royal Marine it's my whole identity, really. I joined when I was 19 and I didn't leave till I was 29. So all of my formative years was spent in the Royal Marines. And that's why my channel name is The Angry Bootneck, because bootneck is because we used to have leather uniform, a leather collar around our necks to prevent like stab wounds. So they call Royal Marines bootnecks. That's where
that's what it was, to prevent stab wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's where the terms a US Marine's called a leather neck and a Royal Marine's called a boot neck. And that's where the term comes from.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, thanks for today. I have to have you more. You know, by the way, you guys, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm actually a huge fan of Matt. I really am. I reached out to him. I stalked him. I harassed him until he agreed to come to my show. When you first came here, I was like, oh my God, he's coming here. It's awesome. So please go subscribe to Matt's channel. I'm surprised you haven't been suspended.
No, I have probably about 8 times over the last 3 years. Yeah,
I know. It used to really get me so upset because I would wake up one day and you weren't posting anything. I was like, what's going on? And this is before you and I communicated. You know, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why isn't this guy posting? And, you know, I remember thinking one time, he's probably just jerking off someplace, you know, he's just living.
Well, I am a man. We have to do that occasionally. But yeah,
and your missus is not happy about it.
Yeah,
thank you for your service. You know, people have to thank you for your service, Matt. You know, I always say this. I know you shut up and just say thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thanks. Cheers, Paula.
And I'll have me over in your channel, and I'll have you over when you know, we should do it more often because I love talking to you so much. You know, it's like talking to my buddy, and I don't have to worry about hurting anybody's feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Likewise, I always enjoy it. It's I'll have you on maybe weekend after next we can do it because I'm going to see my mom.
Yeah. Let me know. You don't give me half an hour notice and I'll cancel anything. I'll come to your channel for sure. You know, you're my priority. I love your channel. I love your content, and you should go subscribe to his channel. You know, I'm so glad that you're putting all the time because, you know, whenever I have time, the first thing I do, I only watch like 3 or 4 channels for reals, and yours is one of them because it's so funny and entertaining.
Give me a big head.
No, because you're so funny, and you know, you get an article and you pick on it, and the way you have the other day, you know, I even burnt my nose because I was drinking coffee and I started laughing so much it went through my nose and it got so hot. So thank you very much for always being here, guys, and go subscribe to Matt's channel and buy a bloody raffle ticket, beautiful people. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Matt, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Well, guys, thank you for being here. Don't forget to buy a raffle ticket. Do watch this thing, and you gotta go and subscribe to Matt's channel. Please, this man should have over 300,000 subscribers easily because he's so funny, he's clever, he covers interesting material. Yeah, and you can see he's amazing. And yes, and hit the like on hit the like on your way out. But buy a raffle ticket, guys. I do need to build those 2 bathrooms and build the expansion. Hopefully, P. Dinah will come with her charity and some of the young kids from her charity to build it, and we'll film it and have it for you guys. So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Oh, I'm doing a live right now in Laura's channel, Laura Rodriguez, but it's in Spanish. So go watch us.